Howdy guys, how's it going? So as you can see, we have the Riot shield on the table right there, and I'm going to be doing a video that has been heavily requested, and that is the fastest and best way and updated information on how to unlock gold camo for your Riot shield, which in turn will help you get Damascus. And unless you're on the Damascus grind, I don't know why you would want to why you would want to get your Riot shield gold. And if you're somebody that does want that, then odds are you probably already have it gold regardless. So we're going to jump in and start off by just going through each individual camo section, and I'm going to be kind of touching on that, and then we'll get into the best perks, the best game modes, and all that stuff. So this video might be long, I don't know. This is just going to be full-on tips, tricks, all that good old stuff. So starting off, the very first one right here is kill 200 enemies. Okay, that's the unlock criteria. For that one, don't even think about it. Like, I know that you obviously won't have access to the rest of these until you take and level up your Riot shield in terms of like your weapon level. For that, definitely recommend, if you have any, make sure like double check your stuff. And see if you have any XP tokens and throw it on for the weapon XP, because that will help out tremendously. And I mean, if there's ever an opportunity that, like, you know, if you see this at another point in time, whenever you're working on the camo for this, if there's double XP for weapon, like a double weapon XP, definitely go ahead and whip out the Riot shield and get to work on it, because you'll thank me later, because you'll be able to take and bust through unlocking everything, and then you'll be able to work on multiple things at once. Because with this, a lot of things is really just about timing and being fortunate enough for whatever it is you're doing to line up with it. Just like this one, get kills while injured. So with this, it just means you've either took a bullet, you've got some splash damage off an explosive, a thermite, whatever. I cannot confirm for sure if fall damage counts. I would think it would, but I was not paying attention when I was working on this. And like I said, guys, I got Damascus like about 2 months ago, I think. So can't contest that, but definitely know if you shot injured for that, you'll definitely want to be in core, playing the core playlist. If you're on hardcore, the only real way that you can normally take, I mean, every now and then you'll get shot up, but most of the time, you know, it's going to be you have EOD on, you get splash damage from an explosive or something, then you push. Because playing hardcore is a great way to level this thing up as well, because it's just a one tap. So if you got shipment on a smaller map, you just bum rush people and you'll just be bumping them down, knocking them down like the whole game, and you can actually end up with a pretty solid KD. Okay, then on to digital. So this one is get kills from behind. This is one of those, once you have it unlocked, like I said, don't fixate on it. Just between using dead silence and everything else, you'll definitely end up killing 50 people from behind. This one is one that I ended up completing just absurdly fast, and I just really surprised myself. So, you know, with none of these, don't fixate them too hard. It's just obviously, you know, whenever it's one of the first few unlocked, it's really easy to just really fixate on it. But just focus on getting kills to begin with, and just, you know, leveling up so you can get all these unlocked and you can be completing multiple things in game. So for the foliage, super easy, get 30 kills while using dead silence. You're going to want to be using dead silence a lot anyways, just because, you know, it gives you a little bit better mobility, and, well, one, you're dead silence. They ain't going to be able to hear you sneaking up on them or running around, and, you know, that's a very self-explanatory one. For the sharp edges, get kills while crouching. Once again, 50 of those, super easy. You're going to be crouching most of the time anyways. And when you throw on the, like I said, we'll get into the perks and the different uses and stuff for each one, but double time's great because it increases your crouch movement speed by 30%, which really helps with this. And you will, trust me, like after you go from having it to not having it, you will notice a difference big time. So like I said, that's 50, no problem, super easy. Going on to the topo section, killed 2 enemies without dying 25 times. So now that one can potentially seem a little, you know, whatever, especially if you're not used the Riot shield or you have a hard time with it. But this is one going on shipment hardcore I found to be very easy. Like, I was popping doubles just the whole time. Like, just, I rarely ever was, like, it was more like whenever I was getting kills, I was getting like 2 to 4 kills without dying, but then I'd die like 5 times in a row. So, you know, when you're doing your Riot shield and you're on that Damascus grind, mate, the KD's on the back burner. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not something that you gotta really, you don't need to be worrying about your KD if you're working on the old Damascus. You can bring that up later. Going on to the Tiger Camo, we got get kills when the enemy is near smoke. This is the one that I ended up having a hard time with for whatever reason. I think mine might have been glitched out or something for a while. I was fortunate enough for the shipment playlist to be available at the time. So what I've done is I just kept smoking the map and just running around, especially smoking middle with people pushing through middle or one of the corners where the enemy was spawning. And then just rush it, and then you slam them. And like I said, hopefully, if you're lucky, yours won't be glitched out like mine was. But that one, just be mindful. Like, everybody's, experiences are going to vary. But that was one that I did have a little bit of a hiccup with. Going on to stripes, get buzz kills, ending enemy score streaks. Once again, that's one of those things you're just going to end up doing. You don't even really need to think about it. Don't let that occupy any of your brain space, because that'll just come with the doing of it. Execute finishing moves on enemies. Now, this right here was also one that can take you a second. Because, once again, I don't know if it counts. I mean, obviously, I think considering how the game works, you got to have the riot shield while you're doing it. So don't necessarily lean on it counting if you don't have the riot shield equipped. But, yeah, you just got to get 25 finishing moves. Like, the best way to do with that, is you got to sneak up behind them, hold down on your melee button, whichever button you have designed to be your melee button. And your character will execute a finishing move. The most frustrating thing about that is whenever you're trying to do it on smaller maps, which is what you're going to want to play for the rest of the stuff for the riot shield, it's very common for the enemy's teammates to come along and shoot you before you can complete the execution on the finishing move. So if you have a finishing move that executes quicker than some of the other ones that have more animations, definitely go with that one. The nice thing is, whenever you have the riot shield will get thrown on your back, on your back, so that will give you a wee bit of protection from the rear end. And then finally, we got to kill 3 enemies without dying. Once again, for this, highly recommend going into hardcore shipment if that is an option. I just found that it's a lot easier to do a circular, either clockwise or counterclockwise rotation around the edges of the map, depending on the spawn points and the game mode. It seemed to be a lot more reliable, and I ended up doing a lot better with the with hardpoint and domination than anything else, just because you can somewhat predict spawns a wee bit better based on the flags that are held at the time or wherever the hard point's at. And then obviously in hardcore you won't have your mini map, but you still do have sight of where the flags and the hard point are. So with that, and here's the thing with hardcore, like I said, it's all about being able to one tap people, because with regular core, having to double tap people with the riot shield, like obviously the first hit stuns them, and that really reduces the chance of them being able to kill you, but it's still easy for somebody to drop shot you, just spray, pray, get lucky, shoot around that gap. You have to deal with the enemies. Like, think about it like this: if you go on a small map like Shoot House, which is a great map for this thing as well, if you come to get 3 kills without dying, you have to count on meeting 3 people who are most likely uninjured, and you have to double tap with this thing, and the melee speed with this is definitely not fast. So that's 6 hits. So you gotta be able to hit and maneuver 6 people in a close proximity without dying. So the odds there are just not that good. You're better off on a smaller map, being able to sprint, one tap, and that was the way that I found to complete this the quickest. Like, I completed all these challenges extremely fast. The last 2 I ended up with was the smoke one, once again, because that was, I know it was glitched out, and then 2, the finishing moves, just because that was one I kind of neglected to work on, and I should have paid more attention to it after I unlocked it, and I just missed a lot of opportunities. But don't be intimidated by 3 kills without dying. Just take advantage of the shipment playlist while it's there. And if you can help it, whenever you're searching for matches in any of the other game modes, just try to pay attention and back out if it gets you a larger map, because you can do it. But once again, it's about playing the odds, and the odds are, if you got to cover vast amounts of distances, the odds of you getting shot in the back or just facing up on somebody and trying to defend yourself, and that will allow enemy player to take and get behind you, get beside you, throw stuff at you, make fun of you, all that good old stuff. So that right there is touching on each individual camos. So if there's anything that I didn't necessarily touch on with those right there that you have a question about, just hit me in the comments. Now we're going to go get into the perks and the lethals and the tacticals and all that good old stuff. So now for the secondary, you can run your combat knife. It just really depends on the other things you're working on. For me, I run the rocket launchers, just because the riot shield and the rocket launchers was like some of the last things I had. So anytime there was, you know, any airstreaks or anything, I would just whip it out, get rid of the airstreak, and just slowly but surely progress through getting them all gold. But you know, if you've already got them, and depending on what you're trying to do, you can really throw anything you want to on there. It's got the knife just because, what, you know, screw it, it's the video, it is. But then going to perks. Okay, so now with the perks, if you're playing the game modes that I mentioned when we was walking through the camos, EOD is going to be that one's good. Like I said, if you want to play the hardcore and try to get the get kills while injured, like let's say you hadn't completed that one and you're working on the 2 kills without dying or the 3 kills without dying, the EOD can help you because you can take splash damage and all that good old stuff, and you can still pop people. But regardless, you're really going to miss not having the double time perk whenever it comes to crouching and getting kills, because if you don't know already and you're really new to everything, when you're using the riot shield, you're going to want to crouch because it protects your feet, which if you're just got a direct line of sight on somebody and you're not sprinting, your feet's really the only way they can kill you, unless obviously somebody else comes and shoots you in the side or from behind. So crouching's a big thing, and whenever you're normally crouched, move pretty slow, so having this little speed boost in your crouching with your crouching speed makes up a huge difference whenever you're already close to somebody, and then you just need to really close that gap. So really the only 2 perks that you'll need is double time or EOD. I messed around with quick fix because, you know, every now and then you get tagged up trying to kill somebody, and as soon as you kill them it increases it. But having them weighed out, double time and EOD definitely outweigh quick fix and all these other options. For perk 2, I would definitely say stick with Ghost, just to keep you off the UAVs and stuff. That way, you know, you can push around without people knowing you. It's very helpful to stay out of UAV, and then you want to use your dead silence, because then, you know, if you got dead silence but they see your little red dot bum rushing at them, then they're just going to be pre-aimed and they're going to just flip and butter your biscuit no matter what. The rest of them, just, I mean, there's really no point. Restock could be potentially good for recharging your equipment, but I feel like Ghost Ghost does outweigh it. But the restock would be my only second recommendation if you find yourself needing your tacticals more. Now for the third perk, tune-up is going to be the way to go there, just because you upgrade your dead silence, and I mean, the quicker you get that, I mean, the quicker you can just really go to town on the enemy team. I mean, once you start working on the knife and the riot shield, then you'll really come to, you know, you'll take it to heart just how, not necessarily overpowered, just how important dead silence really is. And everything else, you know, not that important. Battle hardened, it can be one you might want to switch to in the event you got somebody on, you know, on the other team that's just constantly stunning you or flashing you or anything whenever you're trying to get near them. So if that's the case, you know, the way that Modern Warfare is set up, you can edit your classes and everything while you're in the game. So just hop in here, throw on Battle Hardened, and then, you know, don't worry about it. But those are the only 2 that I'd really say for your third perk. Okay, now going to the lethal. Now I always rocked with the frag grenade and stuff, because if I was playing the regular core, you know, I'd try to just snag somebody with a frag and then push them and get a one tap. I know a lot of people, when they're running the riot shield, they want to use like the throwing knife or the thermite because it's a nice quick throwable object. But this is something that, if anything, it can still be left to personal preference. You just don't really want to try to mess up and get kills and throw yourself off whenever you're working on your 2 kills without dying or 3 kills without dying with the riot shield. So just mainly use whatever you choose to use as something that, you know, if you're playing core, you will use to damage enemy players, so you can just, you know, get a more consistent one tap with it. Now for tactical, I personally definitely recommend the stun grenade, because it's so easy to get kills when the enemy is stunned. They can't turn around, they can't run, they just sitting there, and all they can do, I mean, you just bend them over and you take them. I mean, that's really all there is to it. So just without a doubt, use a stun grenade. Now, like I've been saying, dead silence, just in case if somebody's watching this don't even know what game we're talking about. For the field upgrade, would recommend dead silence, and you could throw on the munitions box, so that, you know, you got the pro thing to where you can switch it over. Everything else, not really any point. If for some reason you was playing a large map, I guess a tactical insurgent might be useful. But the dead silence is really going to be what you need to be using 99.99% of the time when working on your riot shield or even your knife. Okay guys, so that right there is about everything I can think of off the top of my head that would lead to you being able to take and just speed through completing Damascus, completing gold and in turn getting you closer to Damascus. For the riot shield, you know, so once again in terms of game modes, you know, just stick right now, shipment and shoot house, that's what you need to be grinding. Like, if you ain't got your riot shield gold and going for Damascus, you need to stop what you're doing, throw on them double weapon XP tokens, hop in some hardcore shipment. With shoot house normally goes a little bit better if you play regular core from what I remember. But so yeah, just, you know, keep that in mind. If you don't know how, all you gotta do is go into the hardcore playlist, and the main playlist will be there as well. So like, that's how you select hardcore shipment only. But yeah, guys, once again, if there's any questions, just hit me up in the comments section. If you found this helpful, be sure to give it a thumbs up. You know, subscribe if you haven't already, share with your friends. I'm probably going to be doing an updated thing on the launchers, but the launchers video, if I remember correctly, I have to double check it, but it's still there's a lot of useful, accurate information in that for speeding through your rocket launchers, and that's got a lot of good feedback so far from Matt. But anyways, guys, that's it for this one, and until the next one, adios.